Good morning. Welcome to the famous, I'm so privileged, I'm running the famous Aftermath show. But sadly, it is because Jamie from the Fox's Arms has got the dreaded bug. He is poorly this morning. He's tested positive. He's not feeling very well, so he's got himself a cup of tea. His only instructions to me this morning were to grab a cup of tea, have a nice little chat with you guys, get as many people on, get as many fans' views as we can. So the first thing to say is get well, Jamie, all the way over in the Fox's Arms. He's just finished for the summer season's just over. He's put his feet up, and what happens? He's caught the dreaded bug. Anyway, listen, loads and loads for you, me, Tom, whoever else clicks on the link that I've shared to come in and talk. We'll try and do it in Jamie's honour today. Join us live, Wolves v Leicester. Loads and loads to talk about in today's Aftermath show.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So yes, welcome to this morning's Aftermath show. It's Wolves v Leicester. Today we'll be previewing that, looking forward to everything that is going on there. Get well soon, Jamie. And of course, I'm sure people will be getting their comments into Jamie. Craig says, good morning, get well, Jamie. Mark, good morning in there. Gray says here, massive game today. It is massive. Often we say this, 6 pointer, must win, massive. It is getting that way because look at the table. We all saw what Forest did yesterday. They beat Liverpool. Will that kickstart our season? Good morning, Maz. Get well soon, Jamie, says Maz. Good morning, says Neil. Lewis is watching from NL. Netherlands, I think. Am I right with that, Lewis? Is that where you are today? Let's see who's got the furthest flung fox of the morning. Where are you watching from? Grace says, good morning. Get well soon to Jamie. Jasmine, get well soon as well in there. Poor Jamie. Mark is feeling sorry. Listen. Don't feel too sorry for Jamie. He ain't that poorly. He's just, I reckon, he's shut the bar last week. He's gone on a 4-night bender. Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. He's absolutely rocking. He sent me a message about 5 a.m. this morning, and I reckon that's him on the way in from Alcúdia. Been on the lash for 4 days solid. He hasn't. He sent me that obligatory photo of a test with 2 red lines on it. Oh, we've all done that one for work, haven't we? It's only a red pen, Jamie. Come on. Bazza says, morning from Nuneaton Borough FC. Good morning, Baz. I hope you're well. Mark says, get well soon. Imtiaz says, good morning, Phil, and get well soon to all who are ill, including Jamie. Imtiaz, spreading love there. Ben says here, just tell everyone I'm still at RODGERS out, but I'm going for a 3-1 win. Listen, I think RODGERS is here till Qatar now, isn't he? He is here till Qatar, but what a massive game today is, because look at the league table. It is not a pretty place. JC Wright is watching from Cyprus. Good morning to you, JC Right wing. We could do with somebody on the right wing. Who will he pick today? Probably put Madders back there. We'll be coming on to that as well in a little bit. Ben is in Ireland. Patrick, good evening, says, end of season party got to you, Jamie. That's exactly what I think, Patrick. All this nonsense about that. Sean says, get well soon to Jamie. Scott says, can we beat Wolves today? It'd be nice. I'm sure Jamie would like that. Dara says, get well soon, Jamie. 3 points needed today. A good performance away needed. It's been a while, hasn't it, since we've actually gone back to back with wins. A Forest win, Palace 0-0, and then the Leeds win. We could do with a back away win, which would do nicely. Bazza says, definitely going to beat Wolves 2-0 today. They are there for the taking, aren't they? Scott says, good morning, Nick. Win today, and we can jump right up the table. It will take us up there. And Adam says, perhaps wants to talk about RODGERS to Villa. I have seen those rumours. Would you be like saying, come on, Brendan, come on, Villa, down the road? So-called bigger club. Let's get Tom in. Tom is going to click in. Here he goes. Tom, good morning to you. How are you?
Morning, mate. Can I just start off by saying, what are you drinking? Because that is not just a cup of tea. That is a very posh, frothy coffee, if I'm honest with you, mate.
It's a little latte this morning. I need some caffeine to kickstart it off, Tom. You're there with the tea. Jamie's at home. What do you reckon, Jamie? You saw that positive test
Oh,
he sent us as well. He's just been on the lash, hasn't he, for 4
don't you,
nights?
mate? Anyone can get a red pen and draw a couple of lines, eh?
We're not having it, are we? It's shut the bar on Wednesday, Tom.
So
He's
5 o'clock in the morning here was 7 over there. So probably about the time he was just getting in.
Yeah, I reckon. He's been all round Alcúdia. He's probably been Megamuff over there, Magaluf, hasn't he? On the big, well, BCM's in Magaluf. We've all been there. We've all done it. Anyway, let's get on to football. We're going to get Jono in as well soon. I'm going to get as many comments in there. Craig says, let's start with that one. Craig says, I've read somewhere that Villa are interested in taking Rodgers. Football is strange, Tom. It would actually probably suit them. It would probably suit 90% of Leicester fans. It could get the board out of a sticky situation because there'd be no payoff. What's your thoughts on it? Is it just nonsense?
Oh, it's paper talk, mate. It's yesterday's news, today chip wrapping day. I generally can't see it happening. I can't see Rodgers going to Villa. And why would Villa, who are a team who wants to progress, go for a manager that is struggling at the bottom end of the table? You know,
well, his sales
pitch.
But his sales pitch would be: I've took Leicester to fifth to eighth, to an FA Cup final, to a European Cup semi-final, and this
Gucci
season
belt.
Gucci belt. This season I'm struggling because of there was no investment in the team.
I don't see it happening, mate. I generally don't see it happening. If it does, fair play. Like I said, I am Rodgers out, but I'd love to see Rodgers turn it round and push us back up the league, because I think he could do that. But it's a tricky situation. But I'm not having this whole payoff thing all the time. I don't think it's the payoff thing, because they don't have to pay him the 10 million straight up front. That could be done over 3 or 4 years, and that would have been put in the contract if he gets sacked. No club pays their manager 10 million straight out the bank account. Does not happen.
I did think this. Scott has said this. I mean, I don't know Tom, you're obviously nearer to Wolves at the moment where you're from, but it is absolutely right in Leicestershire at the moment. It's raining cats and dogs. At least it won't be too hot for the lads. Let's be positive about it.
Now it'd be too wet though. The pitch will be too wet. The ball was sticking. It didn't roll properly. It got caught in the turf. It didn't glide well enough. And if we lose today, will be the.
Players were too damp this week. Too damp.
Slipping all over the place. Studs didn't get in the turf properly.
Yeah, the ball was too fast, even though we water the pitch every game and at half time. And whenever the ball goes out of play, quick, turn the sprinklers on at the King Power. Let's get it on there. Villa can have Rodgers free of charge, says Louise. Lynn is great. There's quite a lot of positivity, I think, Tom, today for a 2-0 win. Jason says, I'm with the Phil Holloway Latte Club. I'm gonna get murdered for this, aren't I? I should have put it in a mug, big mug, and be like, oh, I've got a builder's cup of tea.
Builder's brew.
There we go. Bit of coffee. Let's get Jono in as well, Tom. Jono, are you ready to come in? He looks like he's walking around his house. I'm going to add him in. Jono, it looks like you're taking us on. It looks like you're on Homes Under the Hammer. You're taking us on a tour around your house, mate.
Through the keyhole.
Through the keyhole, round Jono's house.
Welcome to my tiny office.
Mark says here, with Man City next, Jono, today is a must-win. We talk about must-wins. We talk about important 6-pointers, but Jono, today, just a back-to-back win on Thursday, a win today, would see us leap up that table, wouldn't it? Is it a must-win?
Absolutely, it's a must-win. It's more than that. It's a 6-pointer, which is what we're all saying. Wolves are in the same sort of situation to us, so it's absolutely imperative we get 3 points, not only to push us up, but to push them down. And we saw yesterday with Forest, they've got their tails up, and I watched that game, and they were really scrapping. Something's changed there, in my view, since we played them. They looked really flat when we played them, and they were really scrapping yesterday. Maybe it's because they were playing Liverpool, one of the bigger sides, but they looked like they were up for the fight, and that worries me a bit if they've managed to turn it around, because Cooper's a decent manager, I think, and if he manages to get something sorted with them, then they could be in the mix to try and in the dogfight with the rest of us, So I think, looking at it, Wolves are in trouble. I watched the Palace Wolves game in the midweek, and looking at both of those teams, they were struggling, both of them, but Palace got the result and Wolves looked terrible. So that gave me encouragement today that we could get a result. So I'm hoping that is the case. It's going to be scrappy, I think, because Wolves aren't a good team. So let's just hope for the best and get 3 points today. I think we're capable of doing it. The question is, will they turn up?
Yeah, I mean,
It's the away form, isn't it? I think the Bournemouth game really worries me because when we played Bournemouth, it was so bad in that second half. I'm hoping the same thing doesn't happen away. So we'll see.
I mean, Jono said a lot there, Tom. A lot of points, which I agree with. I know, because I live in Loughborough land, I know a lot of Forest fans because we're in that mix between mostly Leicester, a bit of Derby, although they're all hiding at the moment, and Forest fans coming out the woodwork in Loughborough, by the way. So I chat with them at work and around the place. Now, they say, and I think we could see it when we played them, they've got a good bunch of players potentially, but they weren't playing as a team. A win like that for Forest yesterday against Liverpool could be the turning point for their season. Just as well, Tom, today, a back-to-back win and 6 points over 2 games, with that Palace draw as well, could be the turning point for Leicester's season, could it not?
Yeah, it could be the turning point. Look, I'm not getting carried away about Forest, beating Liverpool yesterday because I haven't watched the game. If Van Dijk had had his shooting boots on, he would have had a hat-trick and should have had a hat-trick. He had that many chances in front of goal yesterday, and that's a centre-half. So they should have won the game, Liverpool. There'll be another game Liverpool fans be moaning they haven't won. Look, let's not get carried away with ourselves. Norwich beat Manchester City after they won the league. When they came back up, they still got relegated. It could make a difference to them, but I still think there's too many individuals in that team to turn the season round. They got lucky with the goal hitting the post and came straight back to the striker. It's a good win for them, but hey, let's not get carried away with ourselves. Read the point last week against Crystal Palace. It makes it look even worse today for me because I look at the fact that Everton turned around and spanked Palace yesterday 3-0 and got a massive win for them. Pulled Everton a little bit further away from them. So the point last week might have seen a good point now, but for me, looking at the result yesterday of how poor Palace were and how they got absolutely hammered away at Everton, who was supposed to be a poor team too, it doesn't look a great point to me. Today we go to a game against Wolves and it's a must win. There's no ifs or buts about it. A point today isn't good enough for me. We've got to go and get 3 points. What is it, a win, and we could go up to 14th in the league if the results go our way. That would be a boost to the lad. That would give a shot into the arm to the lads what they need before going to Man City at home. But wouldn't it be Leicester to lose today and then go beat Manchester City a week on Saturday, hey?
Yeah, it would be. Tom's right. I know Reedy's clicked on and joined us. So I'm going to ask Reedy some questions. He's on the way to the match and he's in a pub somewhere. So Reedy, I'm going to come to you very shortly. Just a few questions in here. Maddison plays through the middle, more chances of Leicester creating chances and scoring goals. Somebody's put in here, Nick says here, does Pratt keep his place today? I hope so. He looked good on the win on Thursday. And that's what I want to ask Reedy. Reedy, can you hear me? And I'm going to add you in, Reedy. Let's see. Reedy, if you can hear me, would you keep Dennis Pratt in today, or do you put Maddison back in? Do you change your winning side?
I'd easily put Pratt in. I said in one of the comments, I think one of the posts that I'd keep Dewsbury today. I think Tillemans did well. I think the Belgian connection in the Pratt, Castagna and Pratt and Yuri Tillemans, all them Belgians together will do well. So I think, I'd take out Dewsbury today.
So Reedy is saying you would drop Dewsbury Hall, Reedy, you're saying today?
Yeah, I don't think he played too well against Leeds, and I don't think he played too well against Palace either. So as much as I know he's kind of one of the main starters in our team, I think if Maddison does come in, who do you drop? And I don't think we would drop someone like Pratt.
So we want to know your views. Do you agree with Reedy on that? Reedy's saying he would drop Dennis, he would keep Dennis Pratt and he would drop Kiernan Dewsbury Hall in there. I'm going to have Jono in as well. Other Jono. We've got 2 Jonos in there. Here we are, all 5 of us on the screen there. Jono, if you can hear me, Jono up in Newcastle, would you agree with Reedy there?
Yeah, Pratt was the difference maker. I actually watched the game against the last game, and yeah, he was the difference maker. He was quality. He puts the tackles in. He gives us the chances. He puts the dangerous balls in. And we didn't score the first goal, it was an own goal, but without him, we wouldn't have given us the chance to get the own goal. So yeah, definitely, I would bring Pratt in, and I agree with really drop Dewsbury Hall. You know, Maddison has to start. He's the biggest. He's one of the best players of the season so far, and Tielemans played well last game. So yeah, I would drop Dewsbury Hall.
So I mean, you see, I'm old school. I'm like Bill Shankly, Brian Clough, all these people. If you've got a winning team, for me, you don't mess around with it. That team won on Thursday. Let's take that confidence in today. I'd keep it exactly the same. Tom, what would you do today? Would you mess around with it, or would you just build on that confidence?
I wouldn't mess around with it. I'd keep a winning team if I could. But we all know Rodgers will make changes, and I think the main one will be Vardy will come out and Daka will go in, because I think he'll save Vardy for Manchester City next weekend, because he'll know how to play against them, probably better than Daka can. I think Daka will start today. And I wouldn't change much else there. I think Pratt deserves to keep his place after his performance. I think the rest of the team probably deserve to, but it takes a very, very brave man not to start Maddison today away at Wolves, considering that he's the one who's been creating and scoring the goals. And if you're at the three in midfield at the weekend, or from Leeds game, the Bournemouth game, I didn't think he had a good game either. Dewsbury probably the one that comes out of the equation at the moment. Just give him a rest. He's played a lot of games straight away. He's nearly played in every game this season, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was the one to come out of the team. If he drops Pratt, I'll just go say, if he drops Pratt today, then what does that send to Pratt? What message does that send to Dennis Pratt? That you bring him in, he has a blind of the game, he creates the two goals in theory with passes and gets involved with them, but then he's going to get dropped straight back out on the team for a player who can't really play on the wing anyway.
I'm gonna come back to Reedy, because then I can let him go, because I know he's in the pub. He's on the way to the match. Reedy, before we let you go, I think you're right. I think he will. I think he will not. I actually think he won't keep Dennis Pratt in the side. I think he will bring Maddison back in. I think he'll keep Dewsbury Hall in. Is today a must-win game, Reedy? And what's your thoughts on how it's going to pan out today?
After yesterday's result, I think it's a must-win result. It's a must-win result. We did not want to expect Liverpool to win. Liverpool to lose, but again, you've got to come into it now and saying you've got to beat Wolves. I'm scared with Adama and Costa up front, but I think Faze will do well to stop them going forward. But like you say, it's a must-win now. You just gotta go there. To be honest, even a draw for me at the moment is probably not the worst result, but you just can't lose these. Surely you just can't.
All right, Reedy, where are you, and what stage of the day are you on? Which pub are you in?
We're in the Wetherspoons in Colville just before the coach, so we're getting the coach in about 10-15 minutes. So.
All right, mate. Have a great day down at Wolves. We'll catch up with you later. All right, we'll see you later. We'll let Reedy go. He's already on the vodka and cokes by the look of it, joining Jamie from the Fox's Arms, who sadly is not with us this morning because COVID, he says. Massive hangover, we all think. Let us know your views. Anyway, wish him well. Gray says here, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Patrick says, thought you had packed up watching Leicester, Jono. Well, we'll ask Jono about that. He's come back into the fold. Nick says here, Leicester should give iShow Speed a Leicester shirt. I'm not sure what Nick is quite saying there. Maybe I'm being thick. Neil says, more than that, we must not lose. I agree. If we do lose today, we do get slightly cut adrift. Jono, Newcastle Jono. This is confusing, two Jonos. Newcastle Jono. Nice to have you back in. Thanks for clicking in. Albrighton is back in today. Johnny Evans could be available today. I want to just briefly talk to you, Jono, about Daniel Amati at the back there. I assume he's going to start again today.
Yeah, I wouldn't start Evans because, you know, I don't want him to just come back in and get injury. We've had this before where we're bringing a player too quickly and he's just got injury again. Like Ricardo Pereira, you know, he's come in twice since a previous injury, and within a week he's got another injury. So yeah, even though Amati's not our best defender, you know, he's working well with Root Phase, and he was my man of the match last game. So keep him in this game and give Evans another week to rest up.
Yeah, indeed on that. Let's come back. We've got Ross clicked in as well, so I'm just going to add Ross in.
All right, lads.
Ross, good morning to you. What's your take on today's game, Ross?
Oh, God. I mean, we haven't won away since Watford in April. We've got a terrible away record. We've lost every away game this season. So, yeah, I'm optimistic. No, but on a serious note, though, because we can't keep having a win and then just as we're getting back into winning basis, then we go back to reality of losing. So, obviously, Wolves, they're without a manager still, if I'm right in saying. They've had a few managers turned down and everything. But they're still a good team. They've got some good players in there. So don't underestimate them. That's what I'd say anyway. So.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying there, Ross. It is going to be tricky. Other Jono down south, Jono, messing around with the team a little bit. It's Rodgers sometimes, I feel like I criticise Rodgers a lot at the moment, but he's sort of a bit damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. If he keeps with the same side, he'll get a bit of criticism. If he fiddles around with it, Jono, and it doesn't come off today, he will get criticised. How would you play it, Jono? What if you were Rodgers? What would you do?
Well, that's first of all, that's why he's being paid £10 million a year, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
To make these decisions. I think Dennis Pratt probably should stay in the side. I think that he provided better balance, I thought, in terms of staying out on the wing, and he rightly created 2 goals from his performance. But he ran out of steam, didn't he, after about 60 minutes, and that's when he was replaced. So I would bring Maddison back in because I don't think Maddison deserves to be dropped. But I'm not quite sure how he squeezes Pratt and Maddison in. I think Dewsbury Hall has been the one that could be the one that could be dropped. I don't know, is the answer. I would tinker it a little bit. I think Daka should come back in as well. I don't think Vardy really showed much in that game. And I think the points earlier were right. I think you probably save him for the Man City game. So I think Daka will start. There's also Nacho. I don't know, Nacho, what role he plays in the squad, to be honest.
I don't think he knows, Jono.
Giving him 7 minutes at the end of each game, I just don't see what the point is really in doing that. So in all honesty, I don't really know. But my feeling is that Daka will come in. I think that Dennis Pratt should and deserves to keep his place out on that left, and then somehow get Madders in as well. I think if we do that and get it working, I think we've got enough on the pitch to get a result today. And fingers crossed we will.
A few comments in here. Neil says Wolves are very good in midfield and will have more possession, but we can get begot at the turnover transition. Adam says here, drop Yuri and play Pratt there. I don't think he's going to do that, Adam. I think Yuri has been captain on and off, and I think actually played all right recently. Anyway, he says bring Madders back in from the right. It's an interesting one. Scott then replies to Neil, says Yuri's literally going next summer on a free, so why not drop him and try out slightly more long-term options? I think, Scott, some of that is we're in the short term at the moment. We need literally to win today and get points on that table in there. Vardy does more off the ball than Daka, says Scott. I'm going to come to Tom with the Vardy-Daka debate that's starting to happen, because it is starting to happen, Tom, about who do you start and where do you start. I think Daka's starting to maybe look like he's a bit more the main man at the moment for me. And Jamie Vardy's perhaps just needs that goal, Tom, to get himself into it. What do you reckon?
Tricky situation. Personally, I think Vardy's started to get a look back to his best in my view in some ways. Yes, he hasn't got the goal to, help his cause, but his runs he's making are the runs that we haven't seen for a little while. And he's starting to make them against Leeds United. He made them against the Forest game. He looked sharp. He was making the runs behind. He set the goal up for Harvey Barnes. He was involved in both goals in some ways. He got fouled for the first one, and luckily we got the ball in the net for the own goal. And then he did the back heel into Dewsbury Hall. It's one of those at the moment. Vardy's still not past it, mate. He just needs a goal to get his confidence there. As for Daka, I don't think he offers much as in the run making. He makes certain runs, but they're not as clever as Vardy's runs at the moment. That's something he's got to learn in games to go. But as we know now, Vardy's getting older. he's not going to play every game. I think we've seen that now. If he starts one game, he doesn't start the next. I think Daka will start today. And I said earlier, I think Vardy will be stayed for the big game against Manchester City because I think he'll be more clever and better runs making and decision making to try and get at that Manchester City's back line. What's been proven can be got at this season. They will concede goals with the right runs. What I don't think Daka is doing yet. I think Daka makes some interesting runs, but I don't think they're as clever as Vardy yet, and that's something he's going to learn. But look, I think Daka will start today. I just generally will switch it. I don't think Vardy will start Thursday and then Sunday game. Don't think he's got it in his legs to do that now. So it's an interesting one, but I still think Vardy's my main striker. I'll pick Vardy over Daka still.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that, Tom. But I actually think he will switch it round and bring, like you've just said, I think he will play with Daka on there. Jono, up north, Jono, I'm going to ask about Patrick's comment here. He says, play Soumare and Mendy holding midfield, and then Yuri Tielemans, Madders, Pratt, Barnes, Vardy. We've got Ndidi obviously not back yet. There is talk that he may be back either for Man City or certainly this side of the World Cup, Jono. Soumare's been looking a bit better for me. I still would personally go for Mendy in that holding position. What's your thoughts on it, Jono?
Yeah, I'll start with Mendy. I think Soumare is still getting the swing of things in the Premier League. I wouldn't play both at the same time because, well, what I like and what I don't like is irrelevant because Brendan Rodgers is so stubborn. He will only play one DDM and he will change Mendy to Soumare or Soumare to Mendy in the 60th minute like he always bloody does. But I would only play one, and then I'll sort of Mendy more than over Soumare for the time being.
And other Jono, what's your take on that central defensive role?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Mendy coming on has done well. I thought he looked really good when he came on in the last few games, and he's not really a player that's ever let us down. I think Soumare, I think, is still finding his feet a little bit. He still has occasions where he does give the ball away. Maybe he's a bit more progressive in his passing, but yeah, I think Mendy deserves to have a shout. I think that's where I would go as well. Put Mendy in.
We've got just a couple of minutes left. Obviously, get well to Jamie from the Fox's Arms. 4-day bender, or he's got COVID, one or the other. You let me know what you think to it. Ross, I'm going to go to. I want to know what your actual two things for today, Ross. What is your score predictions? What's your head saying? What's your heart saying? That's what I want to know.
Oh, God. No, I always do predictions on my own stuff, and I never get them right. I even did my son last week, and we got 0-0. I didn't do one for Leeds. All right, but yeah, we won. And obviously, did the watch along on Thursday, which it was pretty cool because I listened to commentary as well and do the thing. It was pretty cool actually. Peter Draw was a good commentator, by the way. And I don't know if anyone notices, Amazon Prime do a lot better coverage on Premier League than BT and Sky put together because they always focus. You know, like out when it's Sunday League, we know it's like Sunday games. Where, for example, if it's Man U, Man City, we're on before them. They always talk about the game before, after, and not the first game. Well, Amazon obviously talked the whole hour and 15 minutes about Leeds versus Leicester. But anyway, my head's saying 1-1, but my heart's saying 2-0. But saying that we haven't won away at Molineux in a while, so we could try and break that. Let's try and break that. Harvey Barnes, former West Brom player, well, lone player, should I say? So he might want to be up for it a bit more and get on the score sheet. Yeah.
I think it's always interesting, and put in the comments now what your head says and what your heart says, because when you actually think about those two things, it probably gives you a true reflection. I'm going to come to Tom, and I want Tom. A heart says, like Nick said here, heart says 3-0, but head says 1-0 to Leicester. I think it will be a nervy one in there. They're two very different types of predictions, Tom. So let us know what your head says and what your heart says today.
Firstly, I've been to Molineux 3 times. I've seen a 1-1 draw and Tim Flowers' last game before he retired. I've seen us lose 4-3 when we were 3-0 up. I've seen us lose 4-3 when Pure was in charge.
Oh.
Let's put it this way. My head and heart are both on the same wavelength today, and I think we'll get a 2-0 win. Straight up, I've got a good feeling going into this game. I think the performance against Leeds, it wasn't up there as the best, but it was a job well done. I think we're just starting to turn the corner on the results now. So I'm going for a 2-0 win. straight head and heart.
Can I just point out something about Maddison? So he got he didn't get dropped. He got suspended for diving. And to be honest, I still think Pratt should stay in over Maddison. You know, Maddison shouldn't just come in just because he's the top guy at the minute. End of the day, you got punished for diving and getting a yellow card, suspended. So I think Maddison could be a good coming on as a sub today, changing the game.
Yeah, it's it's interesting what Ross says there. Like you say, if you play in any sort of football team, if somebody's got suspended for it was literally diving, should they just come straight back in? I think Pratt's done enough. We want your head says one thing, your heart says another thing, and your score predictions for today. Jasmine says 2-1 to Leicester. Gerd Singh says 3-2 to the Foxes. Karen says heart says 2-0, head says 1-1. I think there might be quite a bit of that going on. Joseph says 2-0 to Leicester. Craig is saying head says 2-2, heart says 1-2. I think that's the general gist. Penalty way either way in this game. Andy says head a win and my heart a win. Let's come to Jono in Newcastle for what does your head say, Jono, and what does your heart say?
My head says 1-1. And my heart says 2-1 Leicester, and I'm going to go with my heart. I think we're going to go out and win this 2-1.
Yeah, I think let's go to other Jono. Head says one thing, heart says.
Head says win, really close win, 2-1. Heart says 4-0.
Wow.
4. Jono, did you just say your heart says 4-0 there?
Yeah, I want to thrash them.
Right. Well, listen, before I let you all go, Sean has just clicked in, so I'm just going to finish the show very quickly because Sean's all about heart. Sean, can you hear us, mate? Are you there, mate? Sean?
Yeah.
We're almost about to finish the show, but what a perfect way to end it with your score prediction, Sean. What do you reckon today?
Wolves are doing not good this season, so we can beat them by 4-0, I think, and they can't score.
I love it. You see, Jono, Sean's with you, 4-0. Take out all these things.
Yeah, I mean, Sean's right. They're struggling to score goals. So even Daniel Armati's clangers at the back probably won't matter, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And I fancy us to get a couple of goals. So let's see how it goes.
Well,
I want to really get a really positive result today and really sort of set a benchmark. That's what I really hope. That's what my heart's telling me. My head is saying it probably won't be, and it will be a scrappy, 1-0 or 2-1. But let's hope we can get a good performance in today.
Well, Sean got the prediction right last time against Forest. He said Leicester win 4-0.
Indeed. Yeah. Sean, I tell you what, let's leave it to Sean to give us a massive come on, Leicester, and we'll finish the show with that. Come on, Sean. Give us a massive one.
Come on, Leicester. Come on. Come on.
Good lad, Sean. Listen, from Tom, thanks for joining us, Tom.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.
Jono from down south, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Jono from up north, thanks for joining us.
No problem. See you later.
Ross has already gone. And Sean, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
And Ross, of course, is still there. See you, Ross. It's wet and windy up wherever you are in Sheffield.
Oh, yes, it is.
It's probably snowing already up there, mate. We'll see you later.
In a bit.
Oh, all right. So thanks so much to everybody for joining us on the videos this morning. Let's get a few comments in there. No Tint says we never win at Molineux. We do. I remember a few wins, but it's not very often. 2-1 says GPM Moore. Bazza says 2-0 with Bardi and Daka to score. That'll be one in each half then. Patrick says, Head says, why did I go out last night? I know, do you know what? I actually feel good on a Sunday morning this week, which is, it was meant to be that Jamie went out on the lash for 4 nights around Alcúdia and Magaluf. Dave saying head and heart both go 1-0 win. Remember, says Scott, we got Amati a central defensive midfielder. Why not play Sonku. It's just not going to happen, Scott. Rodgers has made his mind up on that. It's not going to happen. Matters is a 1.6 litre engine. Pratt is a V8, says Andy. Obviously wants Pratt to stay in. Damien says win 2-1 to Leicester. David says we must win to get out of the bottom three. There'll be a massive moral boost. Listen, if we win today, we shoot right up that table. We could go up to, I think it was about 14th or 15th, depending on goals scored. Nick says, morning, gents. I'd start Pratt and Vardy again and hopefully beat a 3-1 for Leicester. Mark saying 2-1 to Wolves due to Rodgers being stupidly stubborn in his picks. Mark actually has probably just summed up what could happen today there in that sentence on what Brendan does today. Scott says go big or go home, never die attitude. And Marty says Derek playing means a clean sheet is unlikely. Hey, listen, if Marty played and we had a clean sheet against Palace, we had a clean sheet against Leeds. So maybe there is better getting in there. Imran saying can already see the excuses if we don't get the result. It was too wet. Listen, at least Imran, if we do lose today, it's always worth watching the Brendan Rodgers post-match to see what the excuses are in there. We're due an away win. Come on, Leicester, says Simon in there. And Andy is going to get the last comment in there. And he says, don't change a winning team. Andy, I'm with you on that. That team won. I'm old school. If that 11 started and that 11 won, right, you're all picked. You're on the side again today. That's how football works. Keep a winning side. It's the old mentality thing. For me, today is more important than the Man City game. I know you shouldn't really prioritise it, but it is. We need 3 points. And if you're honest, 3 points away at Wolves is very much potential. Man City, it's going to be super tough next Saturday. You know, Leicester, of course we can beat Man City at home. Of course we can. But it is almost a free hit. Today is not. Wolves are down there in that bottom three. Forest won yesterday. Leicester need to win today. Big shout out to Jamie. Of course, we wish him get well soon. He hasn't been out on a 4-day bender. He has tested positive for that bug that we all ate at the moment. So get well to Jamie. Thanks a lot for everything that Jamie does for Leicester Fan TV over the years. So I really appreciate it. So I know we've had a joke with him. He'll take it in good spirits as he's sitting there with his hangover. I'm in COVID. So we'll see you all at the match later today. And of course, tomorrow night, I'll be back here 7:30 for the Fox's Fan Zone show, where we will be talking about all things that have happened today. Anything could be on the agenda for tomorrow night. Who knows? Maybe a famous away win at Molineux. That's what we all want. Enjoy the match if you're going down there. If you're watching it from home or whatever, we will be doing a watch along later. So enjoy that with Elijah and Michael. And we'll be doing a post-match fan show as well. That'll probably be me back here at whenever the final whistle goes. So come and give us your comments there as well. So thanks for watching the Foxes Aftermath show. Thanks for Jamie. Hopefully he gets well soon. And I'll see you all at the next one. Cheers.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, Hope Against Cancer, and Newby Co estate agents. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.